Claire Bernal was born on July 25, 1983, in Thanebridge, Wales, Kent, UK. This small, picturesque settlement is located just a couple of hours' drive from London. The heroine of the story, like her mother, loved to visit here periodically, usually for weekends and to spend time together. Claire's mother, Patricia, worked as a cook, and her father, Martin, worked in finance, eventually becoming the head of an organization while also being involved in business. The family was quite wealthy. Claire had two brothers, James and Philip, and was the middle child. She had a soft, calm character and often smoothed over the relationship between her parents, which began to deteriorate over time, leading to their divorce. Despite this, Claire was able to maintain close relationships with both parents, even after they moved to different addresses. From a young age, Claire was creative and artistic, always positive, kind, trusting, and polite. At the age of 12, she became seriously interested in the beauty industry, experimenting with makeup. It's no surprise that, once she was able to work, Claire became employed at a local beauty store. While a little insecure, Claire believed makeup helped her hide her perceived flaws. By the age of 18, Claire had gained more confidence and had developed her own style of makeup. She became self-taught and began experimenting on her friends and herself. Claire enrolled at West Kent College in Thanebridge to study beauty art, while also helping her father in his business ventures. She received her diploma in 2001 and had already started planning her future. Claire aspired to work in professional stage makeup and on film sets. In 2003, Claire decided to change jobs and apply for a position at a more exciting place. She reached out to various stores she liked and contacted their management. This led to an interview at the prestigious Harvey Nichols store in Knightsbridge, London, for a position in the La Prairie skincare department, a luxury brand renowned for its skincare products. Landing this job was a dream come true for Claire. She persuaded her friend to accompany her to the interview, and she was hired without any issues. At 21, Claire moved closer to London and began working at Harvey Nichols. She spent her first half of the day with colleagues and the rest of the time with friends. Claire became especially close with two other employees, Susan and Natalie, and the three decided to rent an apartment together to split the rent. Although it was a 40-minute drive from work, the area was comfortable and felt like her small hometown, so Claire was content there. Though Claire did not pursue long-term relationships, she occasionally met attractive guys and enjoyed light flirting. In 2004, she became interested in Michael Petch, who had recently started working as a security guard at Harvey Nichols. Michael was a former military man from Slovakia who had worked at the American Embassy in Bratislava. After moving to London in 2003 on a student visa, he found work as a security guard at the store. Michael was 8 years older than Claire, and at first they communicated as friends. However, by January 2005, Michael became more persistent and they began dating. At the time, Michael was in the process of divorcing his wife, who still lived in Slovakia. Claire had doubts about the relationship, given their age difference, and was unsure if she wanted something serious. Despite their good relationship, Michael was eager to build a family and pressured Claire. Michael's obsession with Claire grew quickly. He confessed his love for her after just one date, which shocked Claire. Over the next 3 weeks, Claire felt increasingly uncomfortable with how possessive and controlling Michael had become. He demanded she spend all her time with him, and soon, Claire stopped communicating with her friends and family. She tried to break up with him, but Michael was persistent. After returning from Slovakia in March 2005, he demanded to stay the night at Claire's apartment. Though she refused, they argued briefly before he left. The following day, Michael showed up again, this time with flowers, waiting for Claire to come out. She didn't want to see him and felt worried about constantly running into him at work. Claire tried to avoid him, but Michael would follow her around the store, often staring at her intently. He became more forceful, asking her colleagues to convince Claire to talk to him. His advances only angered Claire, and she made it clear she wanted him to leave her alone. One evening after work, Michael grabbed Claire's hand, professing his love loudly in front of others. Claire told him she didn't love him and walked away. She later showed her mother a picture of Michael, and Patricia immediately noticed something strange in his eyes. She became concerned, but Claire reassured her that she had already ended things with Michael. Despite the breakup, Claire's mother still had reservations about him. By April 2005, Claire, Susan, and Natalie decided to move to a new apartment in Dulwich, which was closer to their work. Michael's obsession had become too much for Claire to handle. After Claire's 22nd birthday, her mother took her to a 5-day trip to Italy. By the summer, the girl met and started a relationship with a new boyfriend. She was delighted and told her relatives and friends that she had finally met a guy whom she saw as her husband. It seemed to Claire, though, that no one expected that this story would take such a tragic turn. On Tuesday, September 13, 2005, 22-year-old Claire agreed to change shifts with one of her friends. By around 1950, most of the store's visitors had already left, and working hours were coming to an end. There were only 10 minutes left before the store closed. Claire said a friendly goodbye to some of the last customers who were leaving and began putting things in order behind the reception desk. She had to linger a little longer to close everything up before she and her colleague Victoria could leave. Victoria smiled at Claire, and their unexpectedly happy faces were soon replaced by anxious ones. Something strange was happening in the store. A noise began. People were running back and forth, and Victoria heard screams that were drowned out only by the sounds of gunshots. The situation quickly escalated, and visitors ran out into the street in panic. No one could understand what was happening. In a matter of minutes, the local police department arrived in West London. When the officers reached the scene, they found chaos. Several witnesses said that 2 people had probably been killed in the shooting. The officers carefully moved through the street with their weapons drawn, eventually reaching the Harvey Neal store. There, on the floor near the counter, lay a bloody girl, her face unrecognizable. As for Michael, at first, it was unclear how he had gotten access to the weapon and why he had attacked the girl. He shot her point blank in the face, severely mutilating her. But her colleagues immediately identified her as Claire Bernal, even without a forensic examination. It was clear that Claire had been shot 4 times. The first bullet entered from behind while the rest were fired into her face. Forensic scientists began collecting evidence and examining the crime scene while communicating with numerous witnesses. At some point, the store's head of security approached the officers, offering to show them files from his computer. According to him, he had carefully analyzed Michael after a number of incidents and found alarming information in the files about the man. However, law enforcement officials decided not to rush into action and chose to conduct their own investigation. Obstacles soon emerged in the investigation. The store management insisted that the store should reopen the very next morning since they were losing money every minute the establishment remained closed. The police refused, insisting that a thorough investigation needed to be conducted first. They needed to collect evidence, carry out a reconstruction, and at the very least, find all the bullets and cartridges fired from Michael's weapon. There were 6 charges missing from the store, but despite their efforts, the police could not find the 6th bullet. Store employees suggested that the former security guard might have known Claire's work schedule. However, they doubted that he was aware she had swapped shifts with a friend. The theory emerged that Michael might have gone to Claire's home first, where she lived with other girls. Upon comparing the number of bullets missing from the murder scene with what was found, the officers speculated that the door had not shown any signs of a break-in. Suddenly, the police officers noticed a local resident near the house and approached her for questioning, hoping she had seen something suspicious. The woman turned out to be the neighbor of the deceased, Natalie. She couldn't get into the apartment because she was waiting for her friend who had the key, the same friend, Claire Bernal. The neighbor was shocked by the news of Claire's murder and immediately suspected Michael. She recalled that Michael had only dated Claire for a short while before they broke up, but afterward, he had frequently appeared near the house, behaving in an intrusive manner and seeking to rekindle the relationship. He often confessed his love and demanded that Claire continue their relationship. Natalie described Michael as a toxic, manipulative person who wanted to completely control Claire, but she refused. Afterward, he began to stalk her. Natalie confirmed that Claire could not have been Michael's victim because she had been out of town for several days, but this was a great relief for Claire's friends. However, the mystery of the missing sixth bullet remained unresolved. The police continued to gather information and soon concluded that Michael might have killed two people before turning the gun on himself. People close to Claire described Michael's inappropriate behavior, which only escalated after the breakup. He repeatedly called Claire, waited outside her house, and stalked her on the streets. His behavior suggested that he still considered them a couple, despite the breakup, and he believed the separation was only a temporary disagreement. Michael frequently confessed his love and believed that they were meant to be together. According to neighbors, it seemed as if he was stalking her even more intensely as time went on. Eventually, due to his harassment, Michael was fired from the store. The girls thought this would stop the stalking, but it didn't. They later discovered that Michael had been arrested and was under investigation, which seemed to calm them down. The detectives were able to track down Michael's address. He lived in a disadvantaged area, half an hour away from the store. Despite this, they found 7 Eastern European men living there, all of whom were engaged in construction and trade. Only one of them, a Polish man named York, spoke enough English to communicate with the police. He explained that Michael had lived in the house for a time, but neighbors had noticed his increasingly aggressive behavior before he moved out. Everyone was shocked to learn that he could be capable of murder. After speaking with Michael's former neighbors, the detectives concluded that Michael acted alone. None of the 7 men involved were connected to the crime. Finally, on Wednesday, September 14th, the missing 6th bullet was found in the store, lodged in the ceiling. Meanwhile, the police continued to speak with Claire's colleagues to learn more about the criminal and the victim. They confirmed that after their breakup, Michael's behavior became so inappropriate that Claire's colleagues had urged store management to remove him. He was even denied access to the store after that. Victoria, who had witnessed the massacre, recalled that she had looked at Claire just before the shift ended. Suddenly, a dark figure appeared behind Claire. Victoria initially thought it was Claire's new boyfriend, trying to surprise her until she saw the gun. Michael shot Claire in the head and Victoria fled in horror, hearing 2 more shots behind her. When she looked back, Michael had disappeared, probably having shot himself right after the attack. Witness testimonies confirmed Victoria's account of the events. They also explained the mystery of the 6th bullet. The first shot from Michael's gun missed Claire, hitting the ceiling. The second shot was fatal, and Michael, presumably feeling cornered or remorseful, shot himself. The police later found Michael's apartment, but no indication of how he had obtained the weapon or whether he had an accomplice was discovered. York had kept some of Michael's notes in English and Slovak. These notes revealed a chilling obsession with Claire, including addresses, poems, and a detailed record of his stalking. It was clear that Michael had been obsessively following Claire, and his twisted fantasy led him to believe that she was the only true love in his life. When he learned that she had a new boyfriend and that their relationship could never be repaired, Michael decided to take both their lives. Claire was shot in the back and face, and Michael, heavily intoxicated with illegal drugs, took his own life. Thank you for watching.